to some extent, it's the conclusion of the projects that you've been involved in.
Yes and no. Yes, it's a sort of a conclusion, because each step tries to be a conclusion of your previous works. But in my opinion, it's not. I didn't want to make a trilogy. Equinox and Oxygen were much more a kind of abstract concept or abstract inspiration or aerial inspiration. And this one, Magnetic Fields, is much more concrete, much more terrestrial, if I could say so. You see, for this LP, I really tried to be much more direct, much more have kind of almost live attitude vis-à-vis the instruments, synthesizers, and I really wanted to try to create sort of landscapes of sounds, to work like a little bit like a movie director of sounds. I think the music has to be now more because of visuals, and because we have more and more images for TV, video, and cinema, and all that. Maybe people need more and more music without any images. It's maybe the reason why the Walkman is so popular, is because people are sometimes a bit fed up to be too passive in front of images, and maybe they want to put their own soundtrack on their own images, on the images of their own life, in streets, for instance.
Although you say that there are lots of images and that you feel that people would like or prefer to have sound in place of it, do you see your own work as being something that could be used in conjunction with film or video?
Yes, it could be used, but you see, I think everybody is obsessed by this famous cross point, this audiovisual cross points. Everybody's talking about that, where the cinema, the video, the television, and all video cassette and video disc or whatever and the music could join. And I think we are in this situation, but it doesn't mean necessarily that any kind of music has to be projected in video. I mean by that certainly the pure product for video will be done especially for video. I mean music and images, exactly like a song. The lyrics of a song are not a poem, because a poem don't need a music, and the music of a song is not pure music, it's a music for a song. And the right combination of the music of a song and the lyrics of the song make the song. I mean by that if you want to make a music for video, you have to think in terms of video. It could be difficult to put images when a music has not been thought for video.
You recorded Equinox and Oxygen in Paris at home. Did you do the same with Magnetic Fields?
Yes, but between Equinox and Magnetic Fields, I moved outside of Paris. And so my studio is not anymore in a sort of specialized bathroom, but it's a real studio, just a few yards from few meters from the house. And it's quite a modern studio with 24 tracks and the automated console with 40 electronic instruments around.
How did you record the album?
How you mean? I really record the LP little by little, like a day-to-day work, exactly like a painter or a writer. And I really enjoyed that, because it was the first time to be like, almost like not a musician, but who has to think about in terms of sessions and appointments and all that, but like exactly like a writer who is making a chapter each day or each week.
You put great feeling and belief into the explanation of your music, yet electronic music can be very impersonal. Do you think that your beliefs, your ideas come through the music when people listen to it?
I hope so, and I don't know, you should ask to the public. But you see, electronic music, that doesn't mean anything really, because a lot of people are using electronic instruments in their music, and everybody is using these days electronics to listen at music. So synthesizer is obviously the most adapted instruments to our times, to our days, but you see the problem of emotions or lack of emotion is not the problem of the instrument. It's really the problem of the guy. If the guy has something to say or to express, it will be okay. So there is no difference working with a synthesizer or working with an electric guitar, and the proof of that is at the moment in England, many groups have replaced guitars by synthesizers, and they are using synthesizers like guitars. So you see, all that has to be considered quite carefully, and we have not to talk about electronic music on one side and the other music on the other side. I think any music today is electronic.
But you don't think it's impersonal?
No, not at all. I think some music could be impersonal, but I know some music made with acoustic instruments who are very impersonal also.
With your previous solo albums, with Equinox and Oxygen, you've performed them live in Paris.
Yes.
And I wondered if you'd had plans to perform Magnetic Fields in your performances live.
Yes, because you see, when you are in a recording in studio, you are mainly obsessed by the result of a record, and so you are making music not for a live situation. And I really try to, as I said before, to have a much more direct attitude vis-à-vis instruments, for stage mainly. And my next project will be a huge tour in China in end of October, and I'm very excited about that because it will be the first time that a Western musician has the possibility to go there and to express himself there. So I hope it will be a lot of fun.
There should be quite a few million people either watching it on TV or actually being there at the performance.
What do you mean by that?
In China, when you perform there, will there be lots of people there?
Oh yes, it will be outdoor and indoor show, and they have no problem for crowd over there, I heard. And but anyway, we will make a film for TV, so everybody in the Western world will be able to see the show, which will be a very special audiovisual show, very futuristic, and at the same time I'll mix some in the show some Chinese musicians, and it will be the proof that you can express the same kind of emotions with the eldest instruments, Chinese instruments, and with the most modern instruments, the synthesizers.
Why did you decide to go to China this time to perform?
After the huge show I made at Place de la Concorde in Paris, where I had 1 million listeners, which was totally amazing for me and for all people who were there. A lot of people were quite interested to put this type of shows in different areas, and for instance, Harvey Goldsmith in England, or a lot of people in the United States or in Japan, or all that. But I was always interested in China, and when they've been interested by my music, I really choose this country as my next step. For me, it's much more than just a tour. It's an experience for all your life to go in China. It's like going in the moon to a certain extent.
You mentioned England as a possible place to perform. Will we see you come to England and perform live in the future?
Yes, I would like to bring back the show I'm making in China, in Paris and in London, certainly beginning of next year. I really hope so, and I think it will be done within this year.
With your work, how far do you think you can go with it? You've now recorded 3 albums, 3 pieces that you see as a whole concept. How far do you think you can go with that sort of music?
I'm really feeling myself like being at the beginning of something. I'm not satisfied about myself. It would be very dangerous, and it would mean that I'm at the end of the way or something like that. And I'm really feeling I'm at the beginning of something in terms of music and in terms also of technology. So many things are happening at the moment that I really feel free about that.
You work as an individual. You're a solo artist at the moment. Do you have any plans to actually work in conjunction with other musicians and performers?
Yes, my next tour will be done with 4 other musicians, French and English, for changing particularly, because sometimes in your life you have time where you prefer to be alone or solo, and some of the time you like, it's fun to play with others. So you see, it's just a question of balance from time to time.
With your music, there are no spoken words, there are no vocals at all. Are you planning at all to do anything in performance or on record where you will use lyrics?
No, I used to, it's an interesting point, because before Oxygen I used to make a lot of songs for singers, and I even produced quite a lot of rock singers, and I used to write lyrics. And now if I went into these fields, magnetic fields, if I can say so, it's it's because I was thinking that it's a big need for the public to have something else than just a slice of 3 minutes music created by the showbiz during the 50s, because it was the right format for rock and roll, mainly in United States. The record business exploited this type of format, and little by little it became the most popular format of music in the world. I think it's a need, and it's my need and the need of many other people all around the world, and I hope that the success of my records proves that people want something else than 3 minutes of music, but 40 minutes or 1 hour of music, a different concept. And I'm quite keen on that sort of concept at the moment. So maybe I'll produce or I'll write rock songs in the future, because some people asked me. But for example, after the show I did at La Concorde, Mick Jagger asked me to work with the Rolling Stones on their next LP. So depending on our own schedules, we'll see if it's possible. It would be exciting, obviously.